Okay, today is May 16th, I believe, and I've been working over here a little bit. And like I said, I think in the last video, I've got some other jobs that need to be done around the acreage, so I haven't been working out here continuously. But I have been getting some more planks up here, and if you can see, I've got written in red there 13 3/4 inches, 15 1/2 inches. Now that's that was a distance between the top of that board that I wrote on and the bottom of the shear plank there. Just getting an idea of what kind of distance I needed to work with there. And unfortunately, this very first top plank here, if I go to just put one plank in here, it's going to have to be a 2x10. Just about an inch short of getting a 2x8 to fit in that space. So I'll probably have to take a 12-footer or whatever and cut it to fit, basically. Spile it to fit in that space. And then I'll have to do that, of course, all the way along here. I haven't got any more planks in that on that strake yet, but you can see I did that the whole length here. I took those numbers, and they're pretty consistent. Really pretty pleased with the way this turned out. Now you can see here it gets a little bit bigger again. That's 7 1/2 inches. There's 8 inches. And it goes back down to 7 inches and ends at 5 1/2 inches back here, which is fine, because like I said, I'll get one more plank in above these, and then I'll have to spile the very top one. You know, I really don't think I'm going to have to spile it, kind of like in the traditional sense of spiling it. I don't think I'm going to have to, measure top and bottom, because the lower plank is going to be almost perfectly flat. I don't think I'm going to have to cut the bottom end of the plank that goes in there to fit. I think I'm only going to have to cut the top, take a measurement up on the top and spile it, just half spile, if that's a word. But yeah, it's going all right. I decided to go ahead and finish up this side up to the shear plank, do it all at once, as opposed to going back on the other side. The other side's going to need, what is it, three planks yet to get up to the shear, I think it is. Maybe just 2. Yeah, whatever it is, 2, I guess. I don't know, I haven't measured on this side yet. But anyway, the reason I was switching back and forth from one side to the other was to keep the forces on the boat, fairly equal, so you're not pulling, one side out of shape compared to the other side. But I think we're planked up enough now that it's not going to matter if I go one plank higher on this side than on, actually it'd be 2 planks higher on this side than that side. But yeah, that way I don't have to move the scaffolding and stuff over again. Just have to do it one more time for the other side. And then of course whatever planking I have to do to get up to the raised shear. But we're getting there, and I'll have enough wood definitely to get it planked up to the shear line. Probably won't have quite enough to do all the way to the top of the raised shear, but that's okay. This is going to be, a big moment getting this much planked. And again, it's going faster than I expected. Of course, I understand this is a lot easier planking a boat like this than it is planking a traditionally built wooden boat. I mean, there's absolutely no comparison to what I'm doing here to what Leo's doing on Tally-Ho, or Steve is doing on Arabella, or even Scott is doing on his boat. Although, I don't know, his planking, I guess, is very similar to mine, what we're doing, but Scott is even a little fussier woodworker than I am. I go for strength, not so much beauty. I don't want it to be ugly, but yeah. That's just the way I feel about those things. And that's one of the things too about, you know, running all these boards through the planer and the jointer to get them all perfectly smooth and squared up and everything. That's fine, but I just have troubles, you know, tearing perfectly good wood and throwing it away, tearing it off the surface and throwing it away, you know, essentially weakening the wood just to make it look pretty. And it really isn't necessary here because, like I said, this is going to get, you know, planed and sanded to what extent it needs to be to get plywood to lay on this surface. And it's not going to take that much. But I got all this down here. All these jobs seem overwhelming when you look at them initially. But if you just start them and keep plugging away at them, it's never as bad as it seems it's going to be. You know, even like the carving out the rabbit there. I dreaded that and dreaded that and dreaded that. And as I've done more of it, it's not as difficult as what I imagined. Now, that said, these are pretty short runs that I'm cutting the rabbit out up here. I got a lot more rabbit to cut out down here. But I suspect I'll do it the same way. This thing gets planked, you know, well, on a little bit of an angle, but it's a la Maryland or, you know, different type of planking, cross planking or whatever you want to call it. So it's going to be a lot shorter boards that are going in here. So that's going to mean I'm going to have to spend a fair amount of time cutting out the rabbit down there. But yeah, it is what it is. And that's something that, you know, I can start doing other things before I do this. In fact, I'll have to do some other things before I do this. You know, get the engine in and get the engine mounted and you know, get my water system all secured and done. You know, I left some of this stuff. I didn't glue in like these sole supports here. I didn't glue these in. My thought was there, if I ever wanted to change anything in here, that all of this can come out. You know, the sole can come out, the floor can come out, and even these timbers here can come out if I so desire. And I just don't think it's going to make that much difference. I mean, there's 3/8" bolts in there, so I don't think gluing them would have, you know, made the boat that much significantly stronger. Somewhat, yes, but I wanted the ability to be able to, somewhere down the road, if I wanted to change something or modify something, I could. And these tanks, you know, these tanks might not last forever. Providing they don't chafe, they should last forever. I mean, providing you don't do something stupid like, you know, try to pressurize a tank, you know, that sort of thing. They should probably last forever. But you never know. And if I have one goes bad, I want to be able to get it out and replace it. So having this stuff not glued in, you know, is going to make that a possibility at least. So yeah, that's where we stand. I'm kind of doing this when I can't work outside on my garage, getting that siding on my garage. That's a lot of work out there too, because I got all sorts of, a lot of wiring going into that building because it's the hub of my solar system, all the chargers and batteries, and so power in and power out, and I gotta unhook everything, you know, put conduit in fittings and then hook it all back up again. So the siding part isn't such a big deal, but it's, you know, water going in and gas going in, and then of course in the front of the building you got door, and you got to trim around 2 doors, you know, the garage door and an entry door, and so there's a lot of putzing around with that job. And it's going to take me longer to do than, and that's kind of why I neglected doing it for the last 4.5 years. But it needs to be done, so I'm doing it. And when the weather is suitable, I'm working out there as much as I can. And of course, mowing the lawn and weeding, and, you know, there's always, you know, maintaining the vehicles and the equipment, and there's always a lot of jobs in the spring that need to be done. And I'm doing a lot of that right now too, so the boat's going to get worked on rainy days, days that are really windy and I can't work on the garage. So for the next couple weeks anyway, that's kind of the plan.